We're back in Joanne Fabrics. Who here is surprised? Mother, are you surprised? I'm not surprised. Hello, this is Katwoman Cosplay, aka Kat speaking. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your second or third or 100th time here, welcome back. As you can probably tell by the thumbnail, I decided I was going to work on my Zelda Breath of the Wild Ballgown cosplay. I was going to go with this kind of lighter fabric that you see me touching here, but I actually decided to go with this satin fabric, the darker satin, that you see me touching second. Not right now, but before. See, you see it right there. Yeah, that's what I chose to go with to make the base of the dress. I couldn't find any pleated white fabric, so instead I used this white as an underskirt and the lace as an overskirt, and I think it worked out really well. For the pattern, I decided to use one off of Etsy, which I printed out after I bought it. The link will be in the description box below. As you can see here, I'm just kind of slowly getting that white fabric to be my underlayer for my shirt, undershirt to be on the ground. I'm using pattern weights to hold the pattern down, and then I am tracing out the dart, which I will cut out with a rotary cutter later on. One really cool thing about this costume is I got everything down to the pattern on sale. It was amazing. I got sent an Etsy coupon from the wonderful person who made this pattern, so I was able to get that on sale. Joann's was having really good sales on their fabric, so I got all of that on sale, and I was even able to get my trim on sale during the Joann's trim sale. If you want a video on how to do cosplay on a budget, please let me know and I'll make one. Here I am repeating the same steps onto the lace as I did the underlining. The lace is going to serve as the embroidery for the actual game setup. I just decided that it looked better than me trying to do embroidery without an embroidery machine. And by embroidery, I mean those quilted gray lines on her top that kind of look like a spine. I decided not to do those just because I did not have the materials nor the time to do it. Next is top stitching the lace onto the underlining white fabric. Then I pinned the shoulder seams together and serged them closed. You do not need a serger for this step. You don't need a serger for anything. However, I just like to serge my seams sometimes to make them look more finished. This is what a serger does. It just kind of finishes the seam, it cuts off the excess fabric and makes the seam you see here. Here I am attaching the lining, much like the pattern did not say to do, but I decided to do this just because I thought it would be easier on me. Here I am filling up my bobbin. It's just so cute to watch the bobbin go round and round. Yeah, that's just, yeah. Anyway, here I am just top stitching down all of my layers so they look nice and neat. Then I work on the collar. The collar took me several tries, and I actually ended up using one layer of lining, one layer of interfacing, one layer of quilt batting, and one layer of lace. The original pattern only called for about 3 of these layers, however my collar would not stand up straight, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and use the quilt batting because that was the only thing I could think of to do. I feel like this is a good time to say that when I cosplay or really sew anything, patterns are just a suggestion, as most of the time they're too big for me. So even though this one ended up being a little bit too small, I feel like it's just really important to know that you should always measure yourself first, you should make the right adjustments. Another thing you can do is get a mannequin or dress form that fits your measurements exactly or can expand to fit your measurements exactly, and that will help you a lot. We're now working on the part that I thought was the most fun, which was the overshirt. And the overshirt was so much fun because I got to do things I never got to do before with trim and with my Cricut with cosplay. Even though I didn't have to, I decided to line the entire thing in red, well, all of the blue parts in red, so that if it would come off at any point, they would see that it was lined in red no matter what. So that means the sleeves, the overskirt, and the the overshirt were lined with red. Here I am sewing on interfacing into the sleeves just to give them a little bit more pop so I didn't have to use shoulder pads. Now it's time for cricketing. My Cricut is my best friend. I've had it for about 3 years now. I believe it's a Cricut Explore Air 2. And there's not really anything really intense or confusing about it. There's walkthroughs on YouTube and on the internet, and it even comes with a guidebook. So there's really nothing that you can't do on this Cricut. But what's really cool about the pattern is the pattern came with the SVG, the files that the Cricut uses, the SVG files for this entire dress. I was really worried about doing the tabard, so I actually did the tabard first before I did anything on the top. So here I am weeding the tabard front. I actually made the tabard about 3 times before deciding on one I liked, which was actually the thinnest version, which is just literally a piece of fabric, the vinyl, and then I actually used some quilt batting at one point, scrapped that, and decided to just use my lighter to light the ends on fire and kind of sear them from ever fraying. For the tabard front, I found my old lighter no longer worked, so I had to use matches. This was a very tedious process. And behold the match graveyard. I am a music major. I feel like I should be playing taps or something. Anyway, here is the finished product with the seared edges. And then, as you can see, I went over here and decided that I was going to iron on the front emblem and get to work on the weird... Yeah, I didn't know what the words for trim detailing was for a moment, but now I do. So, yeah. What I did for this part was I took a picture from the game and also the picture from the pattern, and I kind of conjoined them to be the same pattern and made this and sewed it down. If I were ever to do this again, I would of course try and sear the edges of the ribbon before I sewed them down, so I would not have to worry about setting the entire thing on fire. For entertainment purposes, I really should have gotten that on tape. But then I sewed in snap tape and the overshirt was done. So now on the right you see a finished sleeve, and now you see me trying to do it and replicate it perfectly. I only did this curly Q design on one side at first, then decided I didn't like it on only one side and went back and did it on both sides. So then there were 4 different curly Qing things happening on both sleeves. Then, as you can see, I kind of pinned it shut and sewed around, and then sewed on the trim around it. Coming up the back stretch here is the skirt. The skirt was so easy. All I had to do was line it and cricket on those things you see to the left, and it was done. I'm really excited about how this turned out. I did not make my crown, but I made everything else, down to the gloves, down to the tabard, down to the weird little belt thing that goes around her. It was just so fun. And thank you for Brandy, my boyfriend, for filming these pictures in my yard and getting ticks all over him. Yeah, it's just amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please let me know what you would like me to do next. Thank you. This is Katwoman Cosplay signing off.